He's very nice. How is she doing?
She's good.
As long as you keep me out of the picture, we're good.
Minnesota, going to.
Okay, yeah, it says
architecture
live.
school.
Okay, should be wonderful.
So nice.
All right,
Well, tell her hello for me, please.
Hello.
Thank you.
we got Facebook Live working, so we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order at 6:03. We do have an addition to the agenda. We're adding baseball slash softball, equipment and budget. So with that addition, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
Is that you, Joel?
Yeah.
It's YouTube Live, not Facebook Live. Oh, yeah, YouTube. All right, so I have a motion by Rick, second by Joel, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, is there a motion to recess the regular meeting and meet as the review board of equalization?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Joel, second by John. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right. The floor is yours.
Can I,
Okay.
Thank you for giving me an opportunity to come in. So I have a whole bunch of sales data that I'll go through, but I just sort of want to set the tone of where I'm coming from to start with. So the first question I asked myself is, I bought my house in 2014. What have property values in the state of South Dakota done since 2014? So 10 years through 2024. So the data I pulled is from the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. They have a price index that they create. It's all the sales, all the listings, everything. It's just like a consumer price index that we use for inflation. They create this, they break it down by quarter, and then they list it, and it goes clear back to the 70s. So I pulled that data. I went back to 2013, end of 2013. So basically I started with appreciation from 2014 through 2024. And I said, okay, the price index that the Federal Reserve would use to determine general housing prices across the entire state of South Dakota, residential properties, how much did it grow in that period? If you do that, so these are the price indexes, these are the growth rates by year. If you do that, housing prices in the state of South Dakota from 2014 through 2024 appreciated statewide at 72.66% for an average of 7.27% per year. So I started with that and said, okay, how much is my home and my shop, 2 lots, how much is it appreciated in the assessment from 2014 all the way to 2024? The answer is 250%, or 25% per year. Now, I want to be completely fair and give all, I want apples to apples. We built a shop on our second lot. It cost about $75,000. So that has to be accounted for. That's fair. If you add $75,000, so you account for that improvement that we added in, we saw an increase of 201% in 10 years, or 20% per year. So for some reason, our property has grown in value way above what the state on average has. I don't know why, but it has. So this has been catching my attention, and I've talked to the director of equalization different years about, like, why is this so much? Haven't really gotten a satisfactory answer. So finally, though, I said I'm gonna come in and talk to you and see. So the way the director figures out what our homes are worth is she uses the comparable sales data. She publishes that on the website. It's scanned PDFs of all the sales that have happened. So I asked her if I could get an electronic copy, like a database or an Excel spreadsheet or something, so I could analyze it and kind of figure out what was going on. She doesn't have that. She doesn't have an electronic copy that's editable. It's just not available. So what I did is I went to the county website, to her webpage, and I pulled the printouts for 2022, 2023, and 2024 of all the sales in the cities of Lake Preston, Arlington, and East Smith. And then I created my own spreadsheet so I could go, okay, let's analyze what properties are worth. Before I show you that, there are problems with the data that's available on the website. There are some properties that do not have a building value assessed on them, at least in the data that is on the website, and yet they have homes on them. So how do you figure out how much building is worth versus the lot? There are properties listed in the data for each city that are zoned as agricultural properties that might have several acres. There are commercial properties listed in that data. I have no idea whether the director is using those as comparable sales or not. You can't tell because you can't figure out, we don't know what data she's using other than she's told me all the data she uses is on the website. So what I did then is I created a master database of, these are all the sales for 2023 and 2024. The director uses 3 years. I didn't include 2022 because the data on the website is not complete. It doesn't have the zoning that each property is classified by, and it doesn't tell you the number of lots. So a sale might have had 3 lots. There's no way for me to tell from that data if it was 3 or 1. So it's hard for me to figure out what the how to value that. So I left 2022 out. Having said that, leaving 2022 out should actually make these numbers match closer to the director's assessment because prices have been going up. So if anything, I probably left lower prices out of the comparables. So I did that, created the database, sorted it. I got rid of a couple of new builds that had, basically they were just built and reassessed. They didn't have building values before and so on and so forth. And then I looked at the lots separate from the buildings, and I did an analysis on each. So here is the data. Just looking at lots alone, so this is sale of bare lots. What are bare lots worth in Lake Preston, Arlington, and East Smith? Well, you can see here, can you guys read that?
Yes.
In Arlington, the average price of a bare lot, was $11,000 over 2023 to 2024, and the max lot price was $15,000. In East Smith, higher, of course, not surprising. Average lot price $25,333, and the max lot price was $30,000. The average lot sale price for those 2 years in Lake Preston was $7,958.33. And the max sale from the data on the website was $10,000 for a single lot. And then if you look countywide, of course, the max lot price is tied to that T. Smith lot that sold $30,000, but the average lot price across all 3 cities, she uses all 3 of those cities for lot prices, is $11,946. So then I compared that to what my lots are assessed at. I have the two lots. Lot 7 is where my house sits. Lot 8 is the shop or the garage. Lot 7 that I own, it's valued at 253% more than the average lot price in the city of Lake Preston based on 2 years of sales. And it's 181% above the maximum lot sale over those 2 years. Even in Arlington, I'm 156% above the average and 88% above the max. For Kingsbury County as a whole, I'm 135% above the average, and I'm 6% below the max, which is that one lot in Wilder Lane out on Highway 14 in East Smith. Lot 8 is a little bit less expensive, but I'm still 70% over Arlington's average and 25% over its max. And I'm 136% over the Lake Preston average and 88% over the max. So that's based on actual sales over 2 years. So, and you can see collectively my two lots are assessed at $46,875 for 2 lots.
Are they the same size lot?
The second lot, I think, is slightly smaller.
Okay.
Um,
But similar?
It's very similar.
Okay.
In the materials that you got there.
Yeah.
And I can bring this up too. I did pull some of the lots that are adjacent to me. So,
Just real quick on what you're going over with the lots. Are you comparing the assessed values of the lots or just the sale values of the lots?
I'm using the sale values compared to my assessed value.
Okay, so you're, okay.
Yeah.
So we're not comparing two things.
Right.
Okay.
Now I'm gonna look at the assessed values of some neighboring lots. So this one is just kitty corner from us. This is Renee's house, like kitty corner from our house, across the street from the shop. These lots are all roughly the same size, maybe slightly smaller, but not a material difference, I don't think. This one's valued at $15,000. I've got one at $18,715 and one at almost $29,000. This is Bruce, lives right across the gravel from me, roughly the same lot. His lot's valued at $18,750, the same as my lot 8, but my lot 7 is $9,000 or $10,000 more. This one's a really interesting one. So this is the yellow house kitty corner from my house. Its lot price or assessment is $14,063. And the total of the home is $132,482. What's really interesting about that is that house sold in April of last year for $184,000. So that house has got a comp that's less than a year old. And in 2025, we're $51,000 under the sale price for the assessment, or I think it was 39% off of an actual sale that's less than a year old. So if that's 39% off to the low end, right next door to me, why is maybe mine's at least equally off to the high end, right? That's my thinking. And then let's see. This one is this. So this is Chris Nelson, who lives down. He's got a great big area down. He's a little farther down the street, but it seems somewhat comparable. He's at 14,063. So I'm way over. I mean, all of my neighbors with similar lots. On just the assessment value, on the sale value, I'm like ridiculously high. If you look at the comps. So, given all of that, I first said, okay, what do I think the lots are worth? This is what I think the lots should be valued at. Lot 7 should be worth the maximum sale price over the last 2 years. That's the comp, that's the best comp available. The way lot 8 is valued, it's exactly 2/3 the price of lot 7. So I don't know exactly how that math worked out, but if lot 7 is worth 10, because that's the maximum sale amount of lot in the city the last 2 years, and she's saying lot 8 is worth 2/3 of that, well, I took 2/3 of that. That's how I arrived at those numbers. Any questions about the lot values before I move to the building? It's unfair to everybody that lives in this town that D-Smith and Arlington numbers are used to value our lots. I mean, it's just not fair. D-Smith has a wellness center, it has a brand new school, it has got a hospital. I mean, it has a lot of, it's got a Dollar General. I mean, there are a lot of amenities there that we don't yet have. You know, it's got brand new subdivisions with enormous houses. We see them right when you drive down Highway 14. Those are the lots that are being used to determine what our lots are worth. It's not fair to anyone that lives in this. My opinion is that probably every single lot that's been assessed in this city is higher than it should be based on the comps for the city of Lake Preston and what the lots are actually worth. That's my opinion. Let's look at the building analysis. So this, I'm skipped from the lots. What is my home worth? The shop, I'm gonna let that go. That's fine. I wanna look at the house. So what I did, I've got all the sales in the city of Lake Preston for 2023 and 2024. And I've got the square footage from the webpage, from the director's webpage. I've got what she had for a building value and a land value, and I've got the sale price. And I said, okay, how do people value, you know, homes when they buy them? They value them based on a square foot price. That's how appraisers, like professional appraisers, look at homes. They use a per square foot price and they compare. So what I did to figure out the square foot price of the building alone is I said, okay, the director has both an assessed lot value and an assessed building value. And I said, okay, of the total, how much is the building? What proportion is the building? So for example, this one, 84% of the total value, assessed value, was assessed to the building. So I used that when I would figure out what the square foot price was. So I take the sale price and I would adjust for how much was the building worth of the total assessment, and then I would say, okay, how much is the square foot price? Because you have to pull the value of the land out if you're just gonna look at the building. So I did that for all the sales in 2023 and 2024, after pulling out commercial properties and ag zone properties. Before I get to mine, if you do that, the average square foot price of sold properties over 2 years in Lake Preston is $102.10. Then I tried to parse it a little bit further because, you know, how much your per square foot price is depends on the size of the house. Small houses tend to have a higher per square foot price than big houses. And also the age of the home, right? So my home is almost 50 years old. So I said, okay, well, let's limit it to houses that are 1,500 square feet or bigger to try to compare apples to apples. That set of houses gives you a per square foot price of $89.07. Then I said, okay, let's look at those that are more than 5 years old, so they're not brand new houses that would skew the value of an older house. That set was basically the same, $89.07. And then I combined the two and I came up with a square foot price of $76.53. I didn't use those three values, those lower values, to value my home. I took the average. I think it was legitimate for me to take those values, but I didn't do that. I took the highest value I came up from the comps is the one I used. My house was appraised at $149.54. If instead you use that average per square foot price and you use the lot values I just went through, what I think my home in its entirety should be valued at is $243,185 and $103,642 between the two properties for a total value of $346,827.93 based on actual sales data. I have some other things that support that value. So both Zillow and Trulia, they're not appraisals, they're estimates. Recognize that. But they both, if you go look, and I have the printout in the materials, and I can show them here if you want to see them. They both say my house is valued, their estimate of value is $355,000. So right in line with the number that I came up with using actual square foot prices. But then I said, okay, what if my house appreciated at the same rate as that houses across the entire state appreciated over the last 10 years? What would I have come to if my house was no different than any other house in the state? And interestingly enough, that value comes to $339,105. So if you use that 72.66% growth that the rest of the state has had on average, based on the Federal Reserve data that they would use, they would value my house at $339,105. So within not very much of what I'm suggesting, less than $5,000 or $6,000. What I'm suggesting. So I've got two independent sources and the Federal Reserve data suggesting that the value I came up with is a pretty reasonable reasonable value.
But it's that, sorry to cut in on that, but in the last 10 years, there's been drastic improvements around town that I don't think you can account for that. You got a multi-million-dollar shop that's been built. Prairie Eggs put up that new large building they keep fertilizer in, the amount of infrastructure that you guys have done, like that all adds to that too, that not every city in the nation.
In the state.
Well, in the state, in the state, fine, in the state, but even so, that's a huge chunk on that.
Okay, but fair enough, fair point. That's true. But Sioux Falls has probably appreciated more than Lake Preston in the last 10 years, and that's included in the data. And certainly Rapid City has appreciated more than Lake Preston in the last 10 years.
But are you looking at the entire city and the size of it versus the size of this one? Because you put up one multi-million-dollar facility out there and you put up 3 in Sioux Falls, that's gonna make a bigger difference than putting 3 of them up in Sioux Falls.
Your argument would be that prices in Lake Preston have appreciated markedly above what the rest of the state.
I'm talking evaluation has, not prices.
Well, the assessment or the evaluation is supposed to be made based on sales data.
And you gotta add other elements into it, like the new infrastructure, the new water tower, the new sewer system, the water system, the new roads, the new buildings that are being put up.
It's supposed to be based on sales data. And the director told me that all of the data she uses to determine our assessments is the sales data.
How much did your taxes increase?
Thousands of dollars, several $1,000s. I paid probably 10 grand at least. I have to go back and look, but it's increased. I bet 6,000 at least per year. I mean, my house and shop are worth $535,000. I don't think that a new fertilizer bill.
I'm just, all I'm
justify
talking
it.
about is that last one, that 255. I think you're, in my opinion, you're 355. I think you're pretty damn close on that.
That's where I'm at. I'm saying, based on the comp numbers, I'm saying 346 roughly is what I think it's worth. The other two examples I found were 355. And the last number, yes, that's based on statewide data. There can be different factors across the state. Totally recognize that.
What is the lots average increase, just the lots on it? Like, you showed a bunch of lots up there that were higher than what you were hoping for with that 10,000 and that
So this has to stay
667.
That is his,
If you don't
that
mind me
came
asking.
from Tammy.
Okay.
Those are, houses of similar size, like, Hashies and, David and Tammy Hillstead and, I'm trying to remember,
Casper.
yeah, Timothy. So those are three that would be similar sized houses,
Okay.
and it
Similar
shows,
sized lots as well.
well, most lots around town are quite similar unless you have a double lot, or it will say if you have like two lots.
Okay.
But, yeah, so you can see. You guys can be looking, I'll give you, this is from David, this is his pile. And then that will need to stay together.
So one more thing. I did look into getting a professional valuation done by a professional appraiser. I called two local Brookings and Watertown. The minimum price was $800 plus $250 to testify here or anywhere else if I had to defend my value.
Sure.
I wasn't willing to pay that, and don't think a citizen should have to prove that your house is not worth, has not grown 127% more than the rest of the state. I don't care if that's fair, or it's priced 250% above the other comparable sales in the case of the one lot. I just don't think that was necessary, and I didn't do that.
So thank you for, if you don't mind, if you can look.
You want me to leave, or?
You don't have to leave.
You could share your spreadsheet though.
I'm happy,
Yeah.
I'm happy to share this with all of you. I'm happy to walk through it with you if you'd like to plug your numbers in and see how they compare.
You've gone through a lot of work.
And I would, regardless of what you do for my property,
Also. But that's
I would
just
love
his
to see you
formal
ask the
appeal.
county to require all of the data that's relied upon by the Director of Equalization in an electronic format that citizens of the county can look at and see if the numbers are accurate and being used correctly. And have her explain what her specific process with applicable formulas are to determine our values.
This is the,
Right.
I absolutely despise this process because I think of things the way that you do. It shouldn't, like, if you've taken care of your property, you shouldn't get punished for that. If somebody that's got the exact same house down the street that doesn't do anything with this, they should get punished for it. That's the way this should work. Like, one of the things that she brought up, I think it was last year, if she doesn't go into your home, she assumes it's just, everything is perfect and adds that into it, and it should never be that way. It shouldn't be that way. So the work you did on this is amazing.
Really is.
Thank you. I put a lot of time into it.
Mhm.
I spent some vacation on it. So,
Cool. says it's her rental
It's right on the corner.
I think.
What was the assessed value?
451,000 or
Five,
419,000, my
For
bad.
the house,
For the house.
both properties, the other are over
They're-
$535,000.
That's the assessed value.
Yeah, that's the assessed value. So, I mean, look,
Based on what I saw on your lot sizes, based on what you showed, to me, I don't think it's that much lower on the property. I think it's in that 14,000 neighborhood, because that's what you showed us, everybody else's lot that was comparable in size.
Around you,
That's what I see on it.
yeah,
That 29,000 is ridiculous.
I would argue comparing an improperly assessed property against a potentially other improperly assessed property isn't correct either, right? Like,
Point taken.
you have to look at what the law requires you to look at what's the actual fair market value. And until the lot sells, we have no idea what that is.
she rented out to.
Oh, yeah, right up here on this
Yeah.
corner. The one right on the corner has a tough shape inside,
yeah.
because then they rewind it to just one conduit.
And like I said too,
Inside the walls and stuff.
every lot,
I understand.
I'd be willing to make a very sizable financial bet that if you actually looked at sales, every lot in this city is overpriced. Every single lot.
Do we even have the ability to recommend amount or,
Yes, we do. That's
Okay.
why we're meeting.
well, I didn't know if we just
You have to.
could recommend that they relook at it or.
No,
Well,
we give numbers.
We give,
Okay, I don't know that it's just your problem. It seems like property values are probably high all across the
Is
board.
this the comparable ones?
No, this is.
You have some special cases with your land for sure.
Well, right, yeah, you're not wrong. Apparently we're not going to redo everyone's. Mr. Close was the one who was willing to make the actual complaint, so.
Mhm.
Yeah, 'cause I don't know if this is like my 7th time doing this, I think, and every time I scratch my head because I don't understand. And even when she comes, it doesn't help clarify anything, so.
Yeah.
'Cause it's so random, I understand the process, but, there's a lot of outliers to
Other
this.
factors that go into things.
Well, I mean, just looking at one property and you compare it to one you think would be similar and they're not close, so, I mean, it just,
And she has an explanation. We don't understand it, but she has one.
right. Yeah, so if someone had, wants to start the discussion, well, I think most people have looked at most of the paperwork, but, yeah, as far as, it might be simpler to start with lot values if anyone has a recommendation on that. Because you said, what was I don't know where that is. The one was 29,000, what was your lot
18,750.
18?
Yeah, you had 18 and 29.
Well, I don't think Renee's is a fair lot comparison, because she's on a gravel road, isn't she?
Yeah.
So am I.
Yours is gravel in front of your
The
house?
road between Bruce and myself is gravel going to David Hillstead's house.
Right,
his house is paved.
Yeah,
And then
right.
his shop is
right,
Not paved.
right.
not.
But, remember when sidewalks came through, or, that frontage valuation, it didn't matter if your road was gravel or
Nope.
not. She said that does not matter. I remember that, I know,
But even
I-
last year, that was one of the big sticking points with, I don't wanna say the name, but the guy that was in here arguing about it, and that was where she said that.
So
Yeah.
Renee has pavement for part of her lot.
Yeah, on the south side.
And
Not in front of the house,
not the other part, but
Right.
that's how mine is. I have pavement in part of it.
right, but you have pavement in front, not on the side. And she has it on the side, not in front.
Yep.
okay.
Yeah. I could put a door in on that side.
Well, I want apples to apples, like if you're gonna get my opinion on it.
Okay, so discussion, value, suggestions for lot. If you want to, like, lot 7 is the house, that's the one that's 28,125.
How much?
28,125.
Those are the small one. Danny and Joanne, isn't
God bless you.
1870.
You recommended, what
Does this
was
have
it,
the
you recommended 10 for the house and
dollar amount on this?
6,666, yeah.
For
So
the lot 8.
yeah, and so what I did is I said, what's the maximum anyone's paying for a lot in this town?
Okay.
Yeah.
That was the house lot, and then her formula, whatever it is, has valued the other lot at exactly 2/3 of the home lot. And I said, oh, well, it's 2/3 of 10,000, that's how I came to that.
My feeling that might be a little light.
So who has the neighbors? I do? Okay.
Yes.
What's yours valued Cause I would say,
203.
your house and lot would be relatively comparable. Cause it's a nice older house that's been kept up. I think Rick and Wires would be comparable. And that's just going off the top of my head. But then you start looking at square footages and also it doesn't matter anymore.
I see one on there, the house was appraised at $121,000,
So
but
too,
they
I
spent
you know.
$26,000
We
on
have a little
that.
bit more, or our lot is bigger, I think, than the average lot maybe in town, or Dars.
Okay.
Dars might be a.
So if I take this 3 neighbors, so if I take Renee. Oh, I can, all right.
So they got your lot at 18,750. Assessed value.
Okay, so when I take Renee's lot value, Bruce's, Logan, and Chris, when I take those, add them and divide them by 4, I get 15,469 for an average lot price.
And I would tell you, those are probably all overassessed because they include lot sales data from D. Smith and Arlington.
Okay.
And improvements in the community have absolutely zero to do with property taxes. You're sure on that? So if $1 billion plan comes out there and your lot and everything like that goes up assessed wise, it's not going to,
So it's not, the assessor's job is not to guess at a value. based
oh, I agree,
on-
I 100% agree with you. I'm
That's what-
asking,
Yeah, that's why you
the-
have to look at the comp.
Yep,
It's
yep,
the
yep.
only concrete number that you can use.
So anyone throwing anything out?
just go with my proposed value.
Good.
Does anybody have better data?
No,
No.
but I'm kind of thinking we ought to make an effort to get better data. And is there any way to press Tammy for
No.
anything?
No,
She's
I mean, this is
nothing?
what she does, this is her system, we do
Well-
not get to change it. We
Well,
can,
not change it, but I would just like to know more about it.
But doesn't the state figure out the formula?
The
she
state,
says she follows a formula.
Yeah, the state, that the state provides.
Yeah,
she says the state audits her, I believe that's true. I've got the name of the auditor and contact info, if you'd like to have it. But, like I said, the data that she makes available on the website that is under the cities includes commercial properties. Is she using that data? I don't know. But I certainly can't tell from what she's explained to me. I've asked many, many questions.
I guess for the house lot, based on what he showed, I would go with my recommendation would be to go with the 15,000 for the average of the 4. And then I would take that times 2/3. I think you get a very fair point on that.
Mhm. Well, I would look at the lot size and figure out the square footage price. And then, just to make sure we're all on an even keel here.
What's Tim Casper's?
If this was in alphabetical order, I could find it really quick.
right?
Which is another reason why I wanted to get a hold of Tammy, because I wanted to get this in.
361,717 is what this is down here, but
Is that how?
Just to, sorry,
it's.
No,
blurry, I
go ahead.
can't read it.
15,000 is the maximum amount anyone paid for a lot in the city of Arlington.
Land
Over the last
15,000.
years. The maximum.
So Tim and Treva's is 15,000.
So I would argue that's
Oh, yep.
still too high.
And I would argue that the town of Lake Preston isn't quite assessed right on it.
It's way too high.
It's way too low,
Oh, but then
Lake
Hillstead's is
Preston is
15.
assessed
low
too low.
compared to the other ones. If you're taking into account golf courses,
Cash.
hospitals, things like that, brand new schools into the assessment, but you can't take in $1 billion plant and new roads. I don't think that's fair to go both ways.
That's not how it
No,
works.
because I think this.
Well,
That's
That's what you just said.
No, what I said is, if you look at actual sales, those are the values. So I'm not pulling in any
Yeah, okay.
amenities or anything like that. I'm saying, if you just look at what are properties selling for? And I said, what I said about those things is, it's not surprising that lots in East Smith would be worth more.
Okay,
That $30,000 lot sold
Oh, in
in
his corner.
Wilder Lane, the newest, biggest subdivision with enormous houses on the outskirts of town. I mean, that skews
And then his is.
the numbers.
are the lots in the city, are they, that are being sold, that people are building new
Yeah.
houses, are those pretty much city-owned lots, or?
No,
In Lake Preston?
Yeah.
no, our city doesn't own lots.
You don't
I mean,
know,
Danny.
development board, anybody like that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
mostly
okay.
development board, and those were averaging the 10,000.
Okay.
In the manor development.
So the lots in Lake Preston are way higher than they should be on the assessments, because they include much higher priced lots in D. Smith and materially higher lots from Arlington. Lake Preston's lots are not worth what D. Smith lots are worth.
Here has.
No, but if you build a new home, isn't that crazy taxes
This is
compared to a
45.
renovated home? Isn't that something that's majorly different with this, like they get assessed exponentially higher?
They're supposed to
A new
be
house?
assessed on what the fair market value is regardless.
227.
Well, the price per square footage, I know there's something that, because people have looked into it and built houses, that, because weren't you guys giving some form of a tax exempt waiver for a little while to get people to build
That
in
might be on a different
Business.
businesses? I thought there was something with
lot.
homes, or they were trying to do something like that, we couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Maybe
But that's of the whole development.
right,
And they're
right.
still paying the taxes.
They're still paying the taxes. I
Yeah.
get that.
Yeah.
What I would ask is, I've given hard sales data and it's supported by 3 independent sources. please accept my value unless you have better data, not the assessments. Those are, you don't value a property based on what she's valued some other property. Who knows what I showed you one that was 39% below a recent sale. You need to look at what's the hard data to show what a property's worth.
Well, what's the hard data of a comparable size house with comparable size fixtures? Based on what's sold, not, yeah, that's what I wanted to see kind of on that. I think that's your sweet spot on that, so to speak,
If
because,
you look at larger houses, like mine is, and houses that are more than 5 years old, mine's almost 50.
yep,
The price actually goes down, it would be below what I just suggested. So, and nobody's selling the newest houses with the nicest finishes right now. They haven't in the last couple of years, so there's nothing there to compare. But I mean, our roof now we haven't replaced our roof or our siding. Our driveway is cracked up. Hopefully we get a new one with the street coming through. We need new paint. We need some remodeling in our bathroom. Like, our house is aged. We haven't replaced those things. So it shouldn't be worth what a new house is.
Yeah, I don't know where she'd come up with that much.
there's a form you can also file. They don't like doing it, but you can file that with the state. You can get your overtaxed money back.
Well, if you guys conclude that my house is worth what I suggest, I might do that.
They don't like it, but you can do it. Especially if you can prove that it's been this way for far too long.
I still need a motion or discussion from council. When I was a council person, I could make these motions and I could do things, but I can't as a mayor. So I really need someone
I
to do
would
something.
make a motion to accept what he's presented.
At the 346.
Three,
Sheet that you filled out.
I would strongly recommend,
It's underneath over there.
I would strongly recommend that you don't
Okay.
adjust the property valuation on the lot too much. If other houses around a comparable size, comparable lot sizes, you should try to be somewhere in that sweet spot.
And that should be-
Why?
Why? Because that's what the lots are valued at around you.
By her.
Right, and that's what
That's
they're,
not
Well, that
I don't
just
care what
puts
they're
you in the
worth.
same
That's
boat
what
as
they're
the
valued.
rest
We're
of us.
comparing apples to apples.
No, see, that's exactly wrong.
It's,
What they're valued at by the assessor is irrelevant to what they're actually worth. State law requires the assessor to value them at what they're actually worth in the fair market.
That would be-
So
that would be
to say that, you have to bring me something that
This
suggests
is his.
that her value on those other lots is accurate.
no,
If
we
you want
have to
that,
give you
that.
fair value for the lot based on the assessment that was brought forward, which is what that is that you brought forward on the 14,000. That's a fair assessment based on the properties around you and the data that you brought and put up there.
I'm saying it's not the fair market value, which is what is
But
required.
the data that you proved showed.
I think these are two
There's
different problems.
Did you want to finish? your
One,
motion?
you're probably higher than other people in your neighborhood or similar properties. But the second problem is we might have a citywide issue of things not being really what they're
I
worth.
think you're exactly right, but that's not a reason to not give me a true fair market value. That's not a legitimate. or
But we're not
legal reason.
assessors.
I gave
We,
you the data.
we gave, the data that you gave us was the assessed value that they were given that was comparable.
There's one person in the county that comes up with that value, and she will not explain to me
Or
or to
anybody.
you or anybody how she comes up with that value.
Was she
I
supposed to
use the
be-
data she actually
We can
says
call
she
her.
uses.
She doesn't.
we called
I
her
don't know
last year.
what else, unless
She's
you,
not gonna tell
unless
us.
you want me to go hire
Mechanic.
an actual appraiser, which I don't think is
Do
fair.
you have a question?
I don't have any
No,
other
just
means
more of an
to
explanation
bring
as
a
to-
value.
Why?
And I don't think I should have to live on her assessed value of the properties, which, again, are wrong and in error.
But you understand what I'm saying is the council, we're not assessors. We are bound by the, like, if you're out in the country, this is how this works, which is where I am. If you don't like how your house is assessed, you bring 3 comparable houses to the township board. 3 houses, they look at square footage, they look at lot size, and they compare them. Now, I'm going off the lot sizes that you brought here that are comparable on that. I'm looking at it as if I'm a township board member. I believe that the lot sizes are grossly overvalued, 100%. Now, I was trying to find houses, but I can't figure this thing out by trying to
There's
find
no
the right
rhyme or
houses.
reason.
But I think based on the other value that you brought in, I think you're probably right on the money with that. But we're just talking lots right now, and you can make an argument that the entire town is over assessed. I don't believe that's what the equalization meeting tonight is about. It's about the other
No.
people. We're saying that you're overpriced and you should be in the ballpark of your neighbors on lots.
So from my understanding then, what is the standard that you have to use to value my property? What is the true fair market value of the property based on comparable sales? Or is it fair versus other assessed values?
We have to go off the assessed values. If you have a problem, the step above this board, governing board, would be the county commissioners, because that's who Tammy Anderson is bound by.
Right.
Alls we can do on this is we can go off the comparable assessed values. Like, I'm not disagreeing with you. Please don't take it that way. But I would be extremely uncomfortable making those numbers, as you said, because we really aren't assessors. But you brought comparable data that I believe that this governing board should 100% be behind on. But I don't think it's at 10,000 and 6,000. I think it's like 14, 15,000 and 10,000, 9,000, somewhere in that ballpark. That based on what the data that we have says.
I tend to agree with that.
When you go up the next step, you have to talk to Tammy's bosses, which would be the county commissioners. And they would be the ones saying, this is 100% wrong. And they would have to take care of their employee. That's not here. Can I make a motion?
You can make a suggestion.
Yeah.
Okay,
to
my
what the-
suggestion would be to go
do
to
you
that,
need his value,
no, all on the house?
yeah,
Absolutely on the house.
That-
I'm comfortable with that.
the
I think
amount is, you need to see it, so you can say it in your motion.
I can make a motion. I thought I could
don't
just
know
make a
why you can't.
recommendation.
And Alicia, you're part of the.
You're part of
Yeah.
this board.
You're part of the equalization board.
Okay,
Like it or not.
well then, my recommendation or my motion then would be, I would make a motion that we change his lot sizes to whatever that 15,
Values,
yeah, the
Not
lot
size.
values.
Yeah.
The lot values. We'll go with the lot values first, because I'm assuming you're right on the money with the house, and I believe it, right? Absolutely. But your 15,000 and change, whatever you came up with, I believe that should be what,
15,469, I believe.
okay, let's go 15,469 for the lot the house is on, and then 2/3 of that for the lot that the shop is on, based on her formula on that, there was 2/3 under it. So do the lots, then do the house.
15,469. $10,312.67.
So you have to start filling out this section. So there's a local board. Just that part.
Now find the right line. Goes under.
Okay. So. Okay, so do the house property first.
So abstract type.
And do the parcel number. So that's the house land.
Like, you understand what I'm saying about going up to the county commissioners, right?
Yeah.
That's-
I understand.
I agree with you.
And
Because they got,
believe me, I was supposed to be here for
Assessor
15
value.
minutes. I appreciate you guys
Oh.
listening to me ramble for an hour.
but
No, it's
No,
very
it was-
good. I
it was
appreciate all the work
eye-opening.
you put into this.
I mean, if you present this to the county commissioners,
15,469.
Maybe.
eye-opener.
Yeah,
Hmm?
they make them look.
Okay,
Make 'em look.
and then do the next land.
Which is.
Especially when you bring up you know, the sales 7,000 and 10,000 versus what we're putting you at 15 and 10 now. Like, or what I think we are, I guess, what my motion was on that.
Right.
But we base it off the assessment, not the hard data, because that's what we're kind of bound by.
Yeah, I understand that.
And then how do you, and then go.
That.
6.853.
Okay, and now you go to the house.
Okay, and the house to, is it three,
Well, it
it's on the
says-
back of that sheet,
Oh, it says 347.
346.
Like the Zillow one or something.
It was at the bottom of the-
Yeah,
But that 355 on Zillow, is that including the lot?
That's Zillow and the Trulia numbers are what they estimate.
Right, so that's what you'd buy for the property, so including lots, so you'd have to take the 15 and 10 off that for the house value.
For the house value.
Right.
Yeah.
You'd have to take the 15
That's
off,
what we pay for the whole.
right,
lot.
you'd have to take the
which
15.
when you do that, you're very close to the 346 that he proposed.
Yep,
Were you at 355? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
That was, but that's Zillow.
but yeah,
So, but you came up with 346.
346.
so take the,
827.
Yeah, that was his, that's his own recommendation, the
Yep.
346.
Yep, 346, 827 is.
So is that in your motion, the 346? Because Zillow is 355.
right, but what I'm getting at is based on that 346 and that 355. If that's including the lot, then it should be 330. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
346 minus.
346 was my value for everything.
Right, with the
Oh,
Okay.
the shop too.
Including the lots, including the shop.
So your motion is for
So we-
15,469 for lot 8, lot 7. Lot 8, your motion is 10,312. And back on the house of lot 7, your motion is 330,000.
No. You got the lot stuff right,
Okay.
but the house stuff, like he's looking at it with his
346 minus-
346 value, correct me if I'm wrong. You're saying your 346 value that you have on that,
minus 15,000 is like
So
329,000.
these
but he's
are,
also including
these are the
shop.
building values. So you've got 15 something and 10
No,
something
no, the
for
house,
these
this
two
shop is
values.
different. That's
I've
different
got-
on here.
So I'm not arguing about
Okay.
the shop.
Okay,
Yeah.
So that's the building value on the shop is 96,976. That would stay the
Yeah.
same.
We're
The
not-
home,
So
I
just
would
be-
value at 233,
No.
185.26.
and that's what you look at, what did this one right here just sell for?
299.
299, so if you go off sales
And I think
data
it's a
off
lot
a somewhat
smaller.
comparable house, you know, again, we gotta see apples to apples of and I don't even like saying a house that's been kept up. I just wanna see square footage, house, and
That's
some
all
that's
she
sold.
uses.
People screw up tiles.
So I don't know,
That might have been Joe and I.
No,
No, it wasn't us.
we kept them in the
So,
same.
so.
Then we
my
got a group, we had it
understanding,
on a
That's
group.
right, you're right.
That value,
what was your assessed value on the house? It was 391,490, correct?
let me.
On the house?
Yes, on the house. That's what I'm saying right there.
490.
391,490. Okay, and he's saying it should be 243,185. Okay,
No, that's with the lot. value.
that's with the lot. Okay, so that 390 is way off. Way off. So you got 300,000 here that would include the lot. So that would put his home assessed value at, let's just say it was that'd put his home value at 275 roughly.
I was gonna say 285, but whatever.
So,
So the lot.
but I'm going off one house,
How much was the
Right.
lot price?
So, right, but looking at
15 and change.
these houses, those valuations are much higher than that,
Mhm.
because I don't think that house has the square footage that his house has.
don't think
So-
so.
Yep, and I'm just looking for comparable houses.
So if you take, it's interesting, so I use round numbers. If
Yeah.
you take the 15 for the lot you suggested and the 10 for the lot you suggested, and you add what I'm suggesting for a building value and what the shop, I'm not arguing about the building value on that, you get 355, 161, $161 away from the Zillow estimate.
And the Zillow estimates including both.
Yes.
But I want to find the house value first and then we got to do the shop. Does that make sense?
Or are you gonna knock the price of the shop down? Because I didn't ask for that.
I would.
Okay.
It's not, or that's what a house,
I don't know that we
That
can,
is-
because it's not,
No, that wasn't.
that's not
contested.
on
We can't do
the
anything.
shop,
It's,
oh,
it's in the
The
same.
shop is
it
right
in
here.
the same-
right, but,
It's right here.
right, but you're,
I didn't.
you
Right,
didn't,
I
you
didn't-
didn't
Yeah, I
break
was
things
different.
out, okay,
to me, the
Yeah.
shop, to me, by lots around houses and just a shop or a shed that's on it, I think that's pretty fair, especially what it costs to build one right now. Like, I've looked into it. I don't think that's too far off. The house one at 391,000, it's wrong.
Yeah, he brought this.
okay.
I think you're in that 270 to 300,000, but I want to see other houses that are comparable, looking at apples to
I
apples.
don't think you saw these. These are the neighbors. So Holliston's.
Where did this tile is this supposed to be in?
Shoes.
I tried,
I think this one is this. Oh, this is his.
And
this
those
is
came,
his,
I like that too.
David and Tammy got a big shop too, don't they?
Decent size, yeah.
David Hammond.
David and
Okay.
Tammy shop about the same size as you. It's
Oh,
really
it's
small,
this
maybe.
stuff.
Theirs might be a little
Here.
smaller, but theirs has living
And
space
those
in
that
it.
are down
It's air
there.
conditioned and it
Okay.
has a bar and a whole
this
restaurant.
goes with red stuff.
So,
no, never hit that bar.
They roll that down here.
Yes. Yes, I didn't put a layer for the back, but these companies.
Yeah, imagine that.
That one's an easy one.
That's ridiculous.
Cool.
Not you.
Oh, right, what they're putting it here?
Yeah. That's,
Maybe I shouldn't get confused.
Yeah.
Let's just focus on this
Yeah.
right now.
okay. Because I see where you're going with this, Brett, I get it, because he's got the shop and a house at the valuation. However, like, the house that just sold for $299 has no shop and it's still.
No, again, that's why I was trying to compare
Yeah.
lot to lot, not lot with shop, not with lot and second lot to
Right,
lot with no second lot, like trying to get the comparison, so.
so what did you figure out by looking at those?
I don't like it, that's what I figured out.
And I think March of 2026, I think you hear you say that you're busy.
Yeah. Right? When is that next Wednesday?
Okay. Does someone have a value, like we can start with we at least got the two lots. So we got that part, but house discussion,
I just wanna see similar houses right now,
yeah. I wish I could find houses.
cause that 391,000 is, I haven't seen a house sell for that.
No,
I
nor do I
haven't seen
expect to
to
see
be
one,
A
no,
brand new one
Right.
sold for that.
no. If we could find things in there, like, for a neighborhood,
Well,
and then
it
it totally
goes-
jumps to a whole new neighborhood.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it goes
It's
like
not even in alphabetical order.
halfway down Spring and then it switches to Fremont.
Oh,
And then it
God,
goes,
it's
Separated
stupid.
into additions.
Yeah.
Originally.
I, I tried to get,
If you know what the addition is.
I asked her for the top 5 price of assessed properties.
Mhm.
Because I thought you would want to see that, and she told me there's no way to sort that data. That
Yeah.
I would have to drive around town and find houses, and then tell her what they were, so she could get. the
She can't
price.
See,
sort
and
the
that's-
data.
She can't, she's unable to sort the data by price, or I think any.
Can she provide just a file? Oh,
There's no file. I
That's
don't
why-
think there's anything electronic. I think it's.
well, it has to be someplace.
That's why it's gotta be done. Like, your complaints are extremely valid, but they're county level. I hate saying that.
Yeah, well, I think you're absolutely right.
Don't tell them I sent you there because they don't like me.
I have a feeling. they don't like me.
Good recommendation.
All right, now I think I'm getting somewhere. I'm in the
Yeah.
neighborhood that I wanna be.
Just when you think you find
Yeah.
it though, you switch
Just keep
streets
going.
and then you're lost.
No, we're close. We're on the street.
Uh-huh, sure.
I was on a street that I wanted,
Yeah.
and then it switched.
I really wanted Park Avenue.
How do you skip over that block?
See?
It's in a different
It's,
edition.
I think you have
You
to
know,
drink
the
before you
numbers?
start looking at
Yeah.
that.
Rick and Liz Blair.
Oh.
They got a nice big
Oh,
lot,
yeah.
big house.
That was up there.
Well kept house.
Oh, yeah.
That was up there a long ways too.
Yeah.
Like, over on my
It's older.
computer at the office.
Oh, there.
Okay, it looks like 6533.
Yeah, at least you can go by number.
I was on the opposite end of the book.
See, like,
Okay, so that's less than mine.
the age.
What's your lot number?
Kathy.
That'd be another one.
Ron and Kathy.
That one's right up there too.
Oh,
Yeah. He's up there.
but,
Well, everything.
Brett,
That's
like,
new one.
look at what
Page
number?
87.
We are
Yeah.
6570.
That's
6570, I'll check that in a minute.
way newer. 87, there's a 21.
Yeah. Like Rick's is, that house has been there a long time. You know, big garage and stuff added on to it and stuff too.
That's the brand new house.
Right.
Basement's not finished. That's what they're knocking out on that.
Okay, what was your name? 6570.
I don't know if these are comparable as well.
I'm just looking at size. I don't care about the age and stuff. It's all over.
I think yeah. Yeah. That's the one I'm trying to find.
Who's?
That one,
I think someone
the house is at 125.
Oh, thank you. 121.
121?
No, that's what it's appraised at.
No, 121?
Yes.
No, no,
Whose
that might be
house?
his Main Street.
Go look it up.
I think Wild might have looked it
Oh.
up.
Oh,
What?
That was,
no, I don't think so. Yeah, can you find it, please?
yeah, we're working on it.
Who's?
I think they looked at the wrong thing.
Yeah, no, that's a lot.
Yeah,
That's over here. There's
yeah,
another one.
Okay,
yeah.
6452.
Okay.
It's all based on the age of that structure. even though they spread about
Would be on
26,000.
Okay, so
Oh,
Maybe
this
it's
one's where
on
they're all
Park Avenue.
listed, that's
Oh, they
just their
are.
address.
Because that's what it's
Yeah.
Send the bill.
Western Town.
So you need
Oh,
part-
these are downtown, that's the original plat.
Yeah,
These are the ones downtown,
so
they live in Western Town.
on Parkland.
6540. No, that's the Bell Telephone Company. Oh, that's on, I'm off by 100. Maximum effort.
You see, it's not 121, is it?
It's either 129 or 186.
So I'm guessing the 129 is their rental,
The one next door.
and then their house is 186.
186.
But I'm guaranteed they wouldn't sell it for that.
Right.
So yeah, there's some that are way under and there's
Yeah.
others that are way over.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is,
Like, yeah, we can't fix
we
the
can't.
nightmare that this town has. But all we can do, like I said, Mr. Close was the only one who came forward to appeal, and so all we can do is try to do right by him.
Mhm, yeah.
So,
And all your data. Is there any way you can show a house that's comparable in age? Because otherwise, I'm gonna say it needs to be like 186.
Oh, that's where you go.
yeah.
It's based on what?
I do
Based
have-
on what? Where is your information on this? Like, I just went through this. For 50-year-old homes, that's fair.
Right, but I don't know that we can use age only.
She does.
I understand that, but
Mine's
Well,
over.
what do you base it on?
exactly.
Mine's,
Like, you can't base it on a house that was built 5 years ago.
But it seems like it's based
mine
on
was
old.
built in 1952.
Mine was built in 1880 something.
Based on,
Yours must be
based on
older
the
too. average
average square foot price of the entire, all the sales in the city of Lake Wilson over 2 years. But I'll take the 180.
I'm serious, like, you look at some of these houses that I know are a lot bigger than yours, and their lots bigger too. Like, that's what I'm looking at now. Like I said, I'm gonna go with that. If you let me make the motion on that, I'm gonna go off the information that I can find, which is off the assessment, not off sales,
But
off the
I can
assessment.
go through there and find just as many that are probably gonna be more.
I bet you can't find any other 50 years old that are that size. I looked up basically the 6 nicest, bigger, older houses in town that I could think of.
So when was Tim Casper's house built?
Good question. I was just wondering about that.
Does it state in that packet?
That was Molly's, wasn't it?
Oh, this is cash. Is it on here anywhere?
That one was in the.
It's on the
Yeah.
same page.
Well, at least in the 70s. Nope.
Or what about
70s or
Jordan
early
Solberg?
80s.
When was his house built? Like the 80s?
Who's?
Jordan Solberg.
What about Roger and Barb?
1978.
Oh, 78,
So that's
so,
gonna be right at 50.
yeah, it's right in the ballpark. What's it, it says that?
This is Tim.
Is
Tim
that with
Casper.
the, is that with the shop or just the house?
No, his
Oh,
shop is different.
Yeah, his shop is on different,
Okay.
Whole different property.
yeah.
So
Did
what
you
was it?
guys,
What was the
did you
number?
guys look?
What's the number?
It's isn't it on that sheet? his
Yeah, it's
number?
on the 3rd page,
What is it? We're looking.
4th page, on it. 361.
So. I don't know what their formula is, and I don't know how the council can make a decision based on it.
That's what we did with the lots.
Yeah.
after the-
So take 361 plus 186.
Divide by 2 and there's your average.
273, 500.
Perfect, let's go with that.
Yeah, I mean, wasn't there a third one though, that was in the 180s?
I don't know.
Oh,
You
cute.
You had three, right?
I
Well,
had
do I need to find
I had
another
a-
one here?
So 186 plus 3, was it 391? 361?
And then there was another one you identified that was like 181 or something.
Oh, that was, I think that was the 186.
I thought he had two that were 180s. Maybe
Yeah, I
I'm
don't
wrong.
know. Yeah, I don't know. I thought he, I'm not sure. So,
Say 65.
Yep.
33.
5.
Johnson's was in the 180s.
Yep, that was the 186. 183.92.
Whose is that?
Oh, McGuire.
McGuire's.
Oh,
Got a big lot, big beautiful garage.
yeah,
well-kept
what's the
house.
age of the house? though?
183.
It's like 100 years.
Yeah,
183 what?
Not really apples and apples though. That's
Oh.
twice as old.
I'm just
What'd you
looking.
say, 183?
183,092, but
Yeah.
I guess I don't care how old the house is. I just want.
So it's 243,
Nice homes that are kept up.
364.
Sure.
Are people in agreement?
What was the price?
243, 364. So that is your motion
That
then?
is 100% the
The
motion.
15,469 for parcel 6853 lot, 6853 house, 243, 364, and parcel 6854 lot, 1032. So I have a motion by Brett.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? God bless America. All right, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
What was the total value from all of it?
46, 56, 66, about 70.
269, 145.
And then the shop was on top of that. correct?
Yeah, but we didn't touch that.
So that was 93. What was your number? 269, 145. Plus, and it was just the shop building that wasn't,
We
Yeah,
didn't
we
touch the
didn't
shop.
so that was 96, 976. Okay.
Okay.
How close do we get to your 346?
Let me see.
Plus,
We were at 366.
Yeah.
$366, 121, 11 grand off of the Zillow. I mean,
That's in the
that's
ballpark.
fair. I mean, we're.
But I think you need to, I think you really should take that to the county.
Right.
Because
Well, I
it's,
do too.
Now you can go to the county.
Mhm.
do I have to sign anything?
Yes,
Cause you might wanna
Preston?
yes.
talk to them up there, cause she can say stuff and, you know, they can just follow her suggestion if nobody's there to,
do what he did here.
yeah.
Well, and that's just it. Like, I think it'd be one of those things you'd like to be on the agenda.
Yep.
And you'd
When
request,
they consider this now and they can either accept it or reject it.
Or they can even
Hey,
adjust
this
it
is
from there.
set.
This is set.
Oh, this is set.
Yeah.
This is done.
But if you
So,
wanna
so you're
voice-
suggesting I go just to like push for the lower value or just to present all?
I think
I'd
you
say
present all
present.
that and you show how none of it matches up.
And
Like,
The formula
Oh,
has
but
to be
again,
up there.
It, maybe, truthfully,
the example.
it probably should be the governing board that says, this needs to be explained to us, so we're educated, like, this group should probably go with you to learn how to
What's the formula?
make a rational argument with that, other than the way that we just did it, where we looked at 3 houses that are, you know, somewhat comparable based on lot sizes and the size of the home, and it's an older home.
So I'd be happy to go speak to the county, but would this group be willing to, like, could we go as a group and say, forget my value for a minute, we're not understanding this, there's inconsistency.
Well, I'd certainly be willing to go.
We have, yeah, not saying that we wouldn't go, perhaps a committee, so we don't have to worry about quorum problems, but I assure you, we have let Tammy know that we are very frustrated with the inconsistent values in our community.
Hmm.
She is well aware of
Have you
that.
spoken to the commissioners about it
They have not.
with this group?
I would absolutely love to go, so I'm educated on the matter, don't sound like a jackass.
Well, but
And I
So-
think you get a better handle on things than a lot of us do.
Well, and I
Even
have it,
though-
I have it from the school board and the stuff that they sent me to training on.
Yep.
Like, that's what I have it on, is from that other aspect, but as far as this side of it, like it's
Right,
really a city issue. Like, I understand the country stuff very well, and I also understand the tax stuff. That's why I was trying to make the argument, or not the argument, the discussion with you on, we have to go with the assessed value based on assessments.
I think maybe we'll look at what committee would be closest to fit this situation and see if we can't get some committee members to attend a meeting.
I'll even call and set it up.
I'm happy with this. Thank you, by the way. Thank you all, especially for spending all this time. I really appreciate it.
Thank God you're the only one.
If they're all as thorough as you, we could still be here tomorrow.
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
My tater tot is just gonna be
But
extra.
I'm happy with what you've agreed to on or approved
Yeah.
on this, so, but I'm also happy for the people of our town in the whole county, but particularly Lake Preston, because I think we're really getting the short end of the stick. I'm happy to go and help, present this. Really, to do that right, you need all of the data for all of the towns. I mean, we don't have the data. We don't have the data we need to fully walk through and see what I got the best data available.
Right, and I think that's enough to make them, like, if they can drive out to my house unannounced and take pictures, they can spend a couple minutes making sure that everybody's house is correct.
So, yeah, I'd be happy to go with a group from Lake Preston to say, hey, we think something is off. We should, in addition to what I have, we should go through
Right.
that book and identify the things that you were like, this is way off and this, there's no rhyme or reason to.
Right, I think,
Almost should be
Like, what
audited.
about getting a meeting set up with the committee and then you, the heads?
Yep, and I think you want to do it, I do think you want to do this in a meeting, like, I think you'd want to be on the agenda, but I need council members there that have had discussions with Tammy, because you guys are the ones that are just as confused as anybody.
agreed. I think before that happens, because we have to turn these books in, but,
We do keep the innards of one of those.
right, so I think it would be wise of us to have that committee go through and pick out some examples of where we see inconsistencies, so that we're not a deer in the headlights at that meeting
Oh, good point.
without examples. So I think, we're not putting it down the road, but I don't want to have a meeting too soon without our ducks in a row.
Well, and it's too late to make changes.
Right.
On this year. So to me, that could be a long-term project if you guys want to do that. I absolutely.
Well, the sooner we get it done, the more accurate your data is.
And I think even having county commissioners along with Tammy and Tammy, like walking through it all.
Right,
Like actually presenting so that you
Because-
guys can all understand.
yeah.
And I want to be clear, she may have great explanations for all of this, but she's unable or unwilling to explain it to anybody, which really suggests when you look at the data, there's some formula, she's not I don't know how she's coming up with it. Maybe she's got it, and if she could just share it, we'd all go, oh, makes sense, fine. I don't think that's the case, but maybe it is. I'm not trying to say anything against her other than I can't make heads or tails out of what she's doing.
Agreed. Thank you for coming.
Thank you all, I appreciate the time.
Appreciate
Get out of here so you can do something better.
Thank you.
All right, so we have parcel 6608, yeah, no, sorry. The next one
Yeah, please no.
Tammy actually recommends, if you want to look at 6608, is the property number. We have,
In this corner of town, isn't it?
yeah,
Where we come to?
yeah. So we have a
Right
letter
across
from
from Allen
Dar.
Wells.
Oh, okay.
So Dar emailed Tammy, correct? Right.
Yes.
Okay.
they talked and then Dark.
So it says, hello, this letter is to inform you that I'm appealing the following estimate on my rental property, number 6608. It's estimated at $49,063. I fully believe I couldn't get that out of the
Thank you.
house if I tried to sell it. We
There's
get
no
that.
doubt.
I do believe the lot is worth 10,000. I've discussed this with Tammy and we've come up with a fair amount. So we have a letter from Tammy. Dear local board, please correct an error on DOE 6608. Please correct the value for the structure from $49,063 to $15,000. The land needs to remain the same at $9,375. Please note this change in your minutes.
I make a motion to accept that.
So a house at $15,000? Like, I get it, maybe
It's
she
just-
couldn't get the 49,000,
It's
but
just a little square thing and
Oh,
15 what?
I
15
know the
what?
house.
she just says 15,000.
15 even?
For the structure.
All right, I make a motion, so 15,000 plus 900, 9,375.
So
Plus
24.
5, 7, 3, 4, carry the one, 24,375, that's my
Oh,
motion.
by the way, don't write in that book.
Oh, too late.
what did they have for total?
Huh?
No, but I mean, on the recommended total.
They don't,
They-
they just
they
say,
just-
they
they
have
have
it
the-
set.
Oh,
Yeah, they
okay.
just wanted to drop
The
the
structure.
The lot is staying the
The
same.
lot stays the same, it's just the value of the house.
So Brett made a motion to accept Tammy's recommendation. If someone wants to second the motion.
Sure, I'll second it.
Okay,
Let's just move on.
It's, that house is rough.
okay,
If she's lowering it, I don't think we should argue it at all.
okay.
Well,
So
not
any
if we're
other
trying to make
discussion
any
on that?
points. We're getting better information.
So I have a motion by Brett, second by Joel, all in favor,
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries. I don't have to fill anything out on that one? Okay. All right, so then we approve the book.
Yes.
I don't know, do we approve it or acknowledge it?
Noted.
Must be that one.
The one that I just, don't worry, I made that ready.
Oh, leave it.
That's a mayor's job.
Okay,
Oh, I might technically sign that.
yeah,
Okay.
so,
So just a motion to.
Make a motion to approve the book.
I'll second. the
Not
motion.
agree with it, but
yeah, yeah. Okay, a
I know
motion
what you
by
did.
Brett, second by Jody. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next year's meeting, when you're busy, apparently is the 18th of March.
Be out of town for sure.
Sorry.
Send Jason in.
No,
So-
Please be.
it'll probably be me for the next 3 years.
So we can now adjourn as the Board of Equalization and reconvene as the regular council.
Thank you, Brett. Thank you, thank you.
Okay,
Next year.
yeah.
Yeah, same time next year.
Any public comments? Okay. Banner, you're up.
We gotta listen to that.
Well, you get set up, John Mack is taking a time out.
That's right.
Start.
Yeah. He's saying.
And
don't
hurry.
leave his account.
I don't have much tonight, so that's
Okay.
good. So unfortunately, I noticed that the proposals, the first item, the request for proposals for the soil cement testing, I forgot to send those to Brenda.
Oh,
So following the meeting and whatever you guys make for a decision, I'll send Brenda either proposal, and then if you wouldn't mind, Donna, at some point, just stopping in and signing it.
okay.
So similar to the other projects, we're planning to do soil cement on the phase 2B project. So we sent proposals over to Geotech out of Sioux Falls to do that testing, and also Forrester out of Brookings.
Mhm.
On the 2A project, we just sent one to Forrester, mainly because we didn't hear anything else from anybody. Geotech had actually reached out and asked during the bidding process at 2B. So we did receive proposals. Forrester's proposal was $16,785. Geotech's proposal was $24,975. Now, keeping in mind, this is all, whichever proposal is selected, it is 100% reimbursable through the funding or through the project. So it would just be, and Brenda's familiar with it, the city would get the invoices from either Forrester or Geotech, and then it gets submitted as part of the drawdown request on the project.
Sure.
Now that the loan is actually closed,
Yes,
I can start drawing.
yes. So, I guess on our end, on Banner's end, I mean, Forrester's had the last two projects, and, you know, Ben, who the city has quote unquote hired to do this independent testing. They are lower. Both, in my opinion, would be able to do the job adequately. Forrester is definitely more responsive. Again, they're coming out of Brookings. Geotech would be sending somebody up all the way from Sioux Falls.
Okay.
And that's a big part of the price difference
Sure.
for that. I do know in kind of the next portion, the phase 2B project, so Forrester will already be in town as well as they're doing the testing for the contractors. So some of those mobs to the site to do some of the soil cement testing, they might already be here.
Right.
And so I guess if you're looking for a recommendation from Banner, I guess mine or Banner's would be to approve Forrester's proposal or enter the agreement with Forrester would be our recommendation.
Okay. Is there a motion from someone on the council?
I'll make a motion.
Well, second.
Motion by Jody, second by Joel. Yep. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, the next one, I don't remember what said, the 2B project.
Yes.
So I did throw down on, I think I got it to everybody. Did I put one down for you down too? Okay.
I brought my own.
So stapled on the back of the letter is just a summary if you don't want to read through the big sheets. But at yesterday's bid opening, there was 6 bids, which was really good. I was actually a little surprised. I was a little nervous we'd be around that 3, maybe 4. But looking at the bids that were received, they were all but one were within 390,000. So 5 out of 6 were within 390 to 400,000. Prunty Construction out of Brookings was the low bidder. And that bid tab or the bigger sheet with all the bid items on it. So I was able to go through, put together everybody's unit prices and verify that their total bid price on the project matched with what they had submitted in their bid form. It's actually the first project that I haven't found any errors or any typos or addition errors in, which is good. But I guess on Banner's end, we would recommend awarding the project to Prunty contingent on DANR approval.
Any other contingencies that we should be worried about?
No, so really by awarding it tonight, we're kind of getting ahead of the game a little bit. And it just worked out that this meeting fell tonight. Otherwise, we probably would have prepared the entire bid package and tried to send it in as soon as possible to Danner. And then still do the notice of award, probably the first part of April. But trying to get this notice of award done, we can include that in the bid package, and it needs to be included in the bid package. If we waited, we probably would have delayed everything another month in order, as far as getting them the notice to proceed.
So moved.
I'll second it.
All right, motion by Joe, second by
Yep.
Austin. I almost called you Anthony. All right, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Did Brenda give you this by chance?
Doesn't look familiar.
Yes.
Yeah, I have the second page to know that didn't look familiar, but
Okay, sorry.
that's okay. It should be here this week.
I have it, but I don't know if you're bringing it for like 5 signatures. When you do checks, you'll definitely.
Stampers here.
Perfect. I guess that's all I had. I guess the plan with 2B, hopefully next week, Brian, Doug, and I can meet with Prunty, try to figure out a plan. Obviously, we're adding some work on the 2A, and they also got 2B, which is gonna be really nice to not have 2 different contractors in town. We can, coordination-wise, is gonna be really nice. But we'll hopefully try to get a meeting set up with them, try to figure out a start date. Again, we'll have to wait for DANR concurrence on the
Sure.
award. Once we receive that approval from DANR, then we'll start moving into the notice to proceed, and then hopefully getting a pre-construction meeting set up. And then also, I'd like to do a public meeting again with the 2B project, but we'll just kind of have to see when that timeline is. So,
Great,
yeah,
thank you.
hopefully we can add some more work on the 2B as well.
Yeah, these are all good numbers, so.
Yes,
Yeah, very, very pleased to see that.
yes.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, new business, township agreement. Did everyone have a chance to look this over? Okay. Is there any discussion about that? Okay. Someone willing to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second. I want to get in there.
Prove you were here.
Yeah.
All right, motion by Austin, second by Rick. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Main Street flower, I thought we just did the cocoa baskets.
No, we bought them in 23.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's the cocoa baskets price.
Yeah, all right, so the cocoa baskets, that's the, yeah, whatever. Yeah, I don't- it's brown. So we have, not really, it says it's an invoice, but, $581.26 quote from dealer sales at Kinsman Garden. So, is anyone willing to make a motion to
What
approve?
are these baskets? The ones that
Ones
I've seen
on the
around
road.
town?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Joel, second by Judy. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Now the flowers got close.
Flowers, yeah. So Jesser sold, and the new owner is doing the same prices that she did last year.
Okay. Yeah.
So
So,
that one up.
yeah. Did everyone look at the numbers for the flowers? We have Jesser, the vigorous petunias are at $6.29 each, and then a 4-pack at $3.29. For a total of $682.61. Now, Maderi Acres, they have, with the 20% discount, they are $6.30 for a 4.5 pot. So, they don't have a total price, but unit price, it's a penny cheaper with Jesser. And they've done it before, but.
Make a motion to go with Jesser.
Okay,
I'll second.
motion by Jody, second by Joel. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And then, blocking up Main Street for the, and Third Street for the all-school reunion Town and Country Days. I think Seth-
Which side of Third Street she here? This side?
Or how far?
Usually.
Yeah, it's half.
Oh,
okay.
From the alley to the alley.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion by Joe, second by John. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
That's for Saturday?
Yeah, because you already did Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
I should
Yeah.
have before we voted, but,
Yeah.
Just make sure.
baseball equipment?
Baseball bat, very, very good to me.
So here are the prices all together. All their stuff that they. So if it's all right with everyone, so that 1,800 that we got from the bug sprayer, is it okay if we put it in the baseball account?
Yeah.
And then last year when we turned in receipts and stuff for that tree grant, we, in January, we got 2,391. Is it okay if we put that in the baseball? Yep. Okay. So then here's some numbers.
Okay.
Like there's plenty of money,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. Yep. So do you want me to read it all up? Out?
No.
Okay, so do we need a motion? I mean, it's in the budget, but just make a
I would
motion to approve
motion to approve,
the purchases?
yeah, baseball and softball equipment.
Trees.
Tree grant from last year.
Okay.
I'll
so-
make a motion.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Wasn't that what we?
Yeah.
the equipment? Yeah. that's
Yeah,
what
I thought, I heard a but. and I-
Oh, no.
Okay. All right, motion by Austin, second by Rick. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion.
That was bunt, not butt.
As Brandon would say, anything for our little people.
Okay. All right, employee concerns, Doug? Ryan?
One thing I got is that, you might have noticed it, but the 6 and noon whistle are not working. And we don't think we should fix it. Cause we got all this stuff for the new siren, so
Right.
we're trying to fast track that.
Sure.
So Aaron was there today and yesterday a little bit, putting a new starter in, which is not really hard thing, but it's just time consuming. So he's putting the starter in, Otter Tail is donating the pole. They have one in Coleman, but they have to get it up here, so it might be a little bit. I just wanted to let everyone know that if it's a week or two, it's still noon and still 6 when it's off.
As long as the curfew.
We could probably live with that.
Just want to know when it's time to eat.
So when the new one's up, you'll sound completely different, I'm sure. So just want everyone to be aware.
Okay. Brenda?
Okay, so does anyone want to go to the District 2 meeting?
Remind me the date?
March 31st in Madison from 6 PM to 8 PM. And this would be like listening to the legislature, people and people from SDML.
SBML. Thank you.
It's 6 o'clock.
Because I have to sign you up for it.
I do believe I am free that evening. I'll probably just drive from work. Okay. And it's in my calendar, so we're good.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I'd go.
Joe?
And I can ask them why they think they get a screw with the elections and stuff.
That's a good point.
Okay, perfect, thank you. All right, how about some council concerns?
I talked to the boys about maybe getting some paint on the quads down there. They're looking kind of
Dilapidated?
shabby.
Need help?
Okay,
That's the only thing I got.
before we get our own nuisance property.
Yeah. Best to avoid
We'll
that.
make it look a little better.
I don't have anything, I don't think.
Nothing here.
No,
Just gonna be working hard on cleaning it up.
Okay,
Um,
oh, yes, no,
I just thought of it. Are we going to be looking at hiring a part-time finance officer to help Brenda and to stop us from getting penalized for not having
oh,
backup.
two
just
sets
that
of
one.
people?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been discussed, I think now's a good time to look at it as far as budget coming up.
Yeah, because we're gonna have
We'll have
some
to
wages
budget it.
somewhere.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that's something good to keep in mind for the new budget. Maybe Brenda, you figure out about how many hours if it's 20 hours a week or if it's only 10 hours maybe it's one day a week, whatever. You figure out about what you think would be more helpful. Not that we have to hold them to exactly that, but it helps to budget. Okay. Thank you, good one. I don't have anything. Is anyone calling for executive session? Okay, hearing silence, I hereby call us adjourned.
You need a gavel.
Could I have that baseball sheet and I'll give it to you? Thank you.
first one took us an hour and 20-some minutes.
What's that?
I think it's a
The
fourth
first
generation picture.
item on the agenda took us an hour and 20-some minutes.
Yeah, that sounds about
And
right.
the rest,
But I tell you what, he
took
was
30.
long.
Oh, there's damn cow.
And it's kind of eye-opening, 'cause he's right, everything's overvalued. But I think we need to address it.
I think we're still on Facebook Live. Or not.
Cause I would say it looks. Bring it up. Older